seen anything this weird? I mean, really, I think the only comparison is maybe the Eric Lindrous and the Lindrous family versus Bob Clark and the Flyers. Other than that, this seems to be on a whole new pedestal.
I agree. I think this is starting to put the Lindros thing to shame. The only difference is, the Flyers and Lindros back then were much more overt in their dislike for each other. You had Bob Clark saying one thing, and you had Carl Lindros, Eric's father, saying something else, and sometimes Eric weighing in as well. This is all sort of veiled and surreptitious, and sources who are really Simmons agents and handlers and all whispers from the Sixers and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. This story by Ramona Shelburne on ESPN.com today. And here's the thing. I have two thoughts about this, Mark. Number one is that I don't see how this makes Ben Simmons look any better. I don't understand I think Kyle Neubeck made this point on Philly Voice, and it's a good point, and one that I agreed with, which is that if Simmons handlers think that talking to the media this way and not having him just speak openly is the way to do this, I'm not so sure about that. I don't understand the whole, we got to go on sources and back channel this whole thing. And, and even the details that are getting revealed don't make Simmons look very good. The whole idea, well, Doc Rivers didn't come to visit me after he ripped me and blah, blah, blah. Having said all of that, it does not change the equation for the Sixers. They still have to trade him. And as well as they are playing right now, I'm inclined to argue that they should probably do it sooner rather than later, because it's becoming clearer that they run the risk of wasting an opportunity this season, right? They've won 15 out of 18. Tyrese Maxey is exceeding, I think, everybody's expectations for the player that he could be in his second season. They can't get better, really, until they move Simmons. Mm-hmm. And even if they get 75 cents on the dollar for him, boy, that would help them a lot, don't you think?
Yeah, and I go to Daryl Morey's comments to Mike Missinelli a couple of weeks ago about how, Joel Embiid's playing so great, so we don't need that much to get over the hump in terms of winning the conference. And I'm like, okay, so now you have Joel Embiid playing that well, plus Tobias Harris seems to be getting on track, plus Tyrese Maxey is stepping into his own. So maybe you need even less. So you think about the rest of that percentage that could be filled out with a Ben Simmons trade. You can talk about actually winning the East in that regard.
Yeah, and the other thing is, too, it seems to me that Morey or the people who are kind of backing his long-term play on this, and I have no doubt that he wants to stretch this out and try to get maximum return, right? But this is not the only trade he's going to make as the Sixers president of basketball operations. If he makes a trade for Ben Simmons that helps the Sixers in the here and now, is it possible that sort of trade would cripple them for 3 years into the future? Yeah, I suppose, but A, it may not, and B, Morey is not prohibited from making another move in the offseason that maybe doesn't involve, just because he trades away Ben Simmons doesn't mean he has to stop making trades, right? If he makes a trade that he doesn't think is going to help the Sixers into the future, we'll address that. But right now, you have an opportunity, and that was the whole point of the process. And the point of the process wasn't to keep kicking the can down the road. It was to get yourself in a position where you can make a move to win a championship. And they have that ability right now with Simmons. And it seems to me advantageous that they don't even have to get value for him to make a move that could help them win a championship. They could get 75 cents on the dollar, and they would be in great position to win the East.
With all that being said, what's your gut telling you? Do you think they make a move with Ben Simmons before the trade deadline on February 10th, or do you think this drags into the offseason?
I think it more likely drags into the offseason.